probably seen us all over the racing world and doing a lot of racing designs for events and race teams, but we also do a lot of stuff from small boutiques in small cities all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. Your brand deserves to be seen. We print on more than just shirts, hats, jackets, bags, and much, much more. Custom corporate branding starts here.
Well, everybody, welcome out to a special old school Monday edition of the Revved
Monday
Show. That's right, Monday. Back. Been a long time since we had a Monday show. That was a tradition for years and years. Anyways, Bobby Chapper here, along with Rodney Rodriguez. Based out of Texas, so we've got another Texas flair tonight for the show. For those that aren't familiar with the area we have,
I'm speaking of Monday. I'm surprised nobody has tried to do Monday with all the other shows that have come that have come around. There's some Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, random times or whatever, but nobody's done the Monday night. I'm really surprised that hadn't happened.
Yes, I mean, maybe they still think.
I don't know. But anyway, we'll get after it. Talk some Texas racing after another busy weekend, especially in South Texas. Man, I know you guys were going. I mean, that was just a lot going on all at one time.
A little too much. It's all right. It happens.
Yeah. Lots of topics. Major burning hot topic coming out of Kennedale. It's not really a Kennedale deal, or I don't know. I guess some people would say it is, but we'll talk about that as well, and a lot. And we've got guests line up coming up. Dylan Kowalik here in just a little bit, and then Ray Doyon. We'll talk some I-37. The bottom of the hour, just past the bottom of the hour, but all of that and more on a Monday program here on Russ. And a good. I liked the Sunday night racing last night, dude. I'm totally down with that.
Well, Sunday night racing was good. It went to about 11:30. That was the drawback.
Dude, I ain't gonna lie.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep for part of it. When Dale Jr. started yelling, it woke me up, and I got to see the last 10 laps. So
yeah,
that helped out some. I missed probably of the last. I probably missed about 80 of it. Watching the back of my eyelids instead of watching it at 8:30 or 11:30 at night.
Yeah, I think I called it good about 11. I think, and it'd been a long day. There was a lot going on. I woke up. I guess it had just ended. I guess because I woke up and Denny Hamlin was driving around. I'm like, okay, I guess he won. So, but man, I like the concept. I think that's something that could work until football season starts.
Well, you notice that a lot, like during some of the NBC broadcasts, they do it. IndyCar has that in St. Louis, but I think that's when they have a Saturday night Cup race.
Yeah,
makes more sense to kind of flip them around, where you do the Saturday night Cup race and then do a Sunday Indy show.
Yeah, maybe so. I know, we get a lot of messages on the various chats and different whatever. Of course, there's revvedupsportsshow@gmail.com is an email address that you guys can hit up also if you have any questions or have any topics or actually if you have guests and stuff that you think would be somebody really cool for us to talk to. We'd absolutely love that. So any feedback that you might have. But I got something. Somebody was, because remember before we would do the when we worked the deal with Phil and Race On where we did the awards. Remember that?
I do.
Yeah, but that was more promoter of the year and racetrack of the year. And I got an email from someone that said we should do some Russ Awards, and I'm like, number one, we got to get certificates, and I go straight to that. But anyway, this isn't a bad idea. So here was the proposed, and this was not like a. I mean, honestly, I know the person from getting some, Tex stuff, and I think it's more of a Texas Sports Unfiltered person actually is who this was that has kind of jumped over here and watches this, but had an idea on some Russ awards or Revved Up awards. Well, I guess I gave that part away. He said Russ. So this is actually pretty good. Best track food. And And you don't have to start commenting today, guys, because this is just a proposal here that I'm throwing out, because good feedback, good question.
Some of
Yeah.
these could be fan awards.
Yeah. I'm not voting on all this shit. I mean, okay. Cleanest restrooms. So
that'll come down to 2 tracks. I can tell you that right now.
Gonna come down. That's what I was thinking. That's going to come down to 2 tracks. This is actually a really good one here, and this one probably hurt some feelings. Best cleanup crew.
Well, that's not rescue crews because they all do the same thing now.
This is more of a pavement person. When I see cleanup crew, dirt track, they don't clean up shit. They just let them go. I mean, they pace around forever, but they just let them go. I think I like this one a little bit. Best road trip, like say going to the race ranch, or whatever.
Going to Pensacola for the Derby. That's fun.
Yeah. So that one's pretty good. Best track prep vehicle. I mean, what's that? Usually a tractor.
Tractor or sheep's foot.
Yeah. And then they had to throw in the good old best announcer.
No.
So I don't know.
Guess since it's our contest, we can't win.
Well, I won't. I don't have that job. That will be you, my friend. That would be in contention for that. So I kind of like that. I kind of wouldn't mind exploring some of those a little bit.
When we did the horn show, we did driver of the year.
Yeah. The whole thing would be on how to figure that out. I mean, I don't. Yes, probably have some input, because like what we're talking about, road trips and all that, and now the track food. I don't know. I mean, the track food would be kind of tough, because I think don't a lot of the tracks now. Well, no, I guess they're getting back to like concession food, right? I know there were a lot of food trucks and so forth, but I think it's kind of reverting back a little bit.
It depends on where you go. There's food trucks, and then there's also like Cotton Bowl has 2. They've got the regular booth, or the regular, food stand, food vendors underneath the grandstands, and then they have 1 or 2 food trucks. Usually something odd, but like to have like something that's not offered inside the food stand. It'll be like snow cones or barbecue, or
conflict of interest type of thing, where that would kind of jack up everything. The other part that I don't know is if some of these racetrack concessions have gotten to, are they like the Masters where everything's $2, or is it more like the Moody Center where it's 14?
And it depends on where you go. Same thing.
Yeah. So I mean, that could be a good idea. That could be a good idea. We could kind of maybe throw that out there. Get some fan input. Don't necessarily want to get promoters and drivers and all that shit involved, because who are they going to vote for? Themselves, right?
Generally, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe something to go down the road there. So yeah. So revvedupsportshow@gmail.com. If you have some good ideas like that, that would be something really, really cool to talk about. Before Dylan Kowalik comes on, something that we were touching on there, and again with our South Texas friends, you all feel free to give us your comments if you have any ideas. But just a very, and this is actually something that when Ray Doyon comes on, I think will be something to talk with him as well. It seemed kind of a little saturated Saturday night. Car count seemed to be decent at all the tracks, but golly, man, that gets tough like that. But I know there's only a certain amount of dates, and people want to race all the time.
Yeah, there's only a certain amount of dates, and then when you got tracks and such, it's a blessing and options within the South Texas region. Because if you really think about it, they all kind of serve their own. Metropolitan's not the right word, but they all kind of serve their area. The 37 serves the San Antonio area market. The Corpus market is its own market, and then Edna, kind of right in the middle of everybody. In Austin, San Antonio, Corpus. Like it just it depends. It's about 2.5 hours from everywhere. So yeah, Edna's kind of I would say the metropolitan outlier, so to speak, but.
Yeah, it's still very much a situation, though, just kind of looking at everything as the night was going on Saturday, to where you have still where you look at like y'all's track, and then you look at 37, you kind of that's kind of I don't know. I guess I would say you kind of split, and then Corpus kind of being the deuces wild to, if Corpus is off, are those people going to go see you, or are those people going to go see 37? And then you look, and then you look at CBS, and it's like, man, they again, that is geographically for our friends that are checking in on Ultra. I mean, when we say Cotton Bowl Speedway in Central Texas and Austin, it's because I've had folks ask, how close to Austin is Cotton Bowl Speedway? It's not very close. It is really not close.
Now, at least an hour away.
Absolutely. And let's be honest, to get the CBS from the Austin area, I will tell you there are two major ways to go. 290. That's not fun, going through Elgin and Manor and all that. And then 71, the other day with the procession, did you guys get held up in the procession?
Oh, yeah.
And there was nothing there. It was just a matter of getting past the bottleneck. I was going to text you, but I'm like, well, no, he's probably in the procession. I don't need to be texting him. But I'm like, what's the holdup? 71 is just as fucked up as any other thing around here.
Wasn't it got a little congested once you got more towards like the old the pick and pulls and the Highway 71 auto parts and all that. That's where it got the most congested, because you got people that didn't want to pull over and people that didn't want to stop, and it just kind of got congested. Once it got to Mopac, it was like it was just a for all. My lights off in the procession and ended up being a regular member of traffic. I saw H's truck. That's how I kind of knew where I was at, by being able to see the truck. When I got, 10 car lengths behind, I could still see the truck. Even at one point, H gave up and turned off his hazard. So it's, all kind of, and then once you got into the 45th cemetery, then everybody kind of put on their flashers so that the cops would kind of continue to hold off that one intersection right at the entrance to the cemetery. So,
yeah. So that's where, with these tracks, like CBS, when folks talk about Austin, not really Austin, 37, not really San Antonio. Corpus is the race ranch. I mean, that one, yes, that one really does kind of tie in there. And Edna, kind of being the outlier where you get the Victoria, even some of the Corpus too. I mean, but anyway, kind of the
Houston for 105, some of those.
Yeah, guys. 105. Yep, absolutely. But it's just where you have all of that going on, and it just gets hard. And we can dig into that a little bit more. I don't really know what the point of that is. It was just more of the fact that on that night you had all of those tracks going. But then you look again to where it's like each one has their, other than CBS, which CBS seems pretty loaded all the way around, other than Junior Limiteds and the Hornets or the Compacts. They're doing really good everywhere else. I mean, obviously with iStocks, I mean, those are just exceptional there. They do well with limiteds. They do well with factories. They do well with all that. You guys are just blowing shit out of the water with hobby stocks. And then you look at 37, and that's the fireballs and all that. So while it kind of sucks, I guess that's good because it's serving every demographic, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to pick and choose which your race car is going to go. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like each track kind of has its I don't want to say special class, but its unique class to the place. So some guys have street stocks, which would be perfect for running, fireballs.
Yeah. Yep.
Some tracks have, if you got a limited, or, you kind of want to run, if you want to run the IMCA sanction, you run, Cotton Bowl or Kennedale, or if you have a stock car. It's like the guys in Waco choose what they want to do. Some guys still strictly only want to run on Friday nights so they can do stuff with the family on Saturdays, which is a little different than most. And then some of those guys run double. Guys and gals run double, where they get a chance to come through and run, Friday night in Waco, and then Saturday night at either Cotton Bowl with the IMCA sanction. So kind of just depends. And neither one of those tracks are close to Waco.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Speaking of CBS, let's go diving in. Big night at that the big track, as we like to call it, over in Page, Texas. And at the top of the heap in the factory stocks, in a brand new factory stock, good friend of the show, good young dude right here. We welcome back to Russ. It is our man, Dylan Kowalik. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. I'm doing pretty good. How are y'all?
Hey, man. Glad to have you. Glad to have you on here, man. Doing great. Got to ask you, man, we can talk about the new car and so forth, but I do want to actually talk about race night in and of itself. I went back there and watched it, man. car was in its own zip code, dude. Tell me a little bit about the night. You were in the Page, Texas zip code. I think everybody else was in the wrong damn county because you stomped them, my brother.
uh, yeah, I mean, it couldn't have gone any better. Uh, we were thrashing all week just to get the car ready to race. Uh, you know, I luckily it was a short week at work. I got to work on it all day Monday. I actually missed work going to work on it Tuesday. Uh, it was just I had so much to do in such little time. And then my dad was driving back and forth uh, almost every day last week. Uh, we had a graduation to go to on Friday night. I got back home around midnight, worked till about 3 o'clock in the morning, and then woke up, got back out in the shop by 8, and by then my dad was about back to my house. We worked on it all day. I didn't even have time to eat lunch, and we finished it right at 6 o'clock, and we loaded it up, and it's about a 40-minute drive to Cotton Bowl from where I live, and we made it there just in time to make the last hot lap session. And I didn't really know what to expect. You know, I got everything's brand new, uh, besides the powertrain, and I was kind of worried about like the brakes not being seated in and stuff, but I just had to go out there and see how it handled, and went out for hot laps, and I mean it was pretty damn good just straight out of the trailer. I didn't really do anything. Uh, we got it, kind of felt it out, felt pretty good. I don't think we changed anything for the heat race. We did add some air pressure because we didn't even have time to set tire pressures. I think I went out with like 5 psi in the right rear. I'm lucky I didn't roll the bead, but yeah, it was just fast right out of the trailer, and I couldn't have asked for it to be any better.
So, Dylan, possessed you to want to, as if your old car, your old car now, the car you ran for a couple of years, it wasn't exactly as if that thing was slow. So, what possessed you to want to build a brand new one from the ground up?
Yeah, that's what my dad was telling me. He was like, "You just won 2 track champions, and now you're gonna go build a new car for what?" And I was just like, "Well, I think I can make it faster." And there was, uh, you know, there's just like a different level of like pride whenever you're racing in something that you built, and I just wanted to, get that feeling whenever I win that I built it, and to do it on the first night was just pretty pretty special.
Dylan, how? Because when I was watching, and I mean, honestly, as I sat there and watch it, and when I go back and kind of break down film, as I like to call it, in the sports term of watching you guys race, I like to slow stuff down and watch it. I mean, this car looks like it just sits different. I mean, honestly, this thing looked. I'm going to be real honest with you. It looks like an asphalt car, and to kind of watch some of the different things as you were moving the car around. How does this thing drive versus the old car? And like Bobby's talking about, the old car is a really damn good car, but is it a massive difference for you?
I mean, it handled a lot better.
Yeah.
I my other car, I couldn't really get the weight placement where I wanted it to because it was not a dirt track car. It was a asphalt car that was converted over, and so it wasn't necessarily purpose built, and I couldn't get it how I wanted it. But having it, this new chassis, I got to put the weight where I wanted it, and it was just a whole lot easier to drive. But I'd say I was honestly pretty worried about it because I don't know what I'm doing. This is the first one I built. I had nothing to go off of. I had Taylor's car here to kind of pull some measurements off of and stuff like that, but I didn't really know where to even start. But I kind of just guessed. And when I finally got all the suspension on and got it on the ground, like I'm measuring frame heights and stuff, and I'm like, this is way off. Like, how is this gonna work? And I couldn't sleep for the past month. I was just so worried about it. And then uh my father-in-law, Heath Stewart, he was just like, just get the lead all where you need it, and it is what it is. You don't have weight jacks, just you know, you're gonna have to figure it out. And uh so I was just stressed out the whole like past month, and then finally got it scaled how I wanted it, and for it to just handle like that, it was perfect.
So we talk about what possessed you to build a car. What made a hobby stock class? I mean, if you were going to build a new car, maybe move over to the iStocks and run a stock car. I mean, what was it about staying within that factory stock window that you were most concerned with?
I mean, I would have loved to build a stock car or sport mod, but pretty much just money. I didn't feel like buying a new motor or nothing. This is all the same powertrain and everything that I had on my old car. Just basically new suspension, new chassis.
Mm. Okay. So with this car, I mean, so do you still have the old one? Are you going to, because I know that you will travel. I mean, you'll do different stuff. Is this going to be the 29K that makes those trips, or will you go back and maybe certain tracks you're going to go to the old car, or kind of any thought with any of that at this point?
So I do still have the old car. Uh, I don't plan on running it anymore. This is going to be the car that I take wherever. I haven't sold my other car because my dad kept telling me, he was like, "I don't think you should sell it yet. It's fast. We don't know if this one's gonna work yet." And then I don't even think I run the heat race yet. I come in after hot laps, and my dad was like, "I think you can sell that other car now." So, and I mean, I know he's had confidence in it, like just being there throughout the whole build of it. And he was just like kind of scared a little bit just to, sell a good car and not knowing if this one was going to work. But I think he was pretty proud of it whenever the night was all said and done.
I imagine.
And you probably gonna have to build another one now. Because remember,
Yeah.
the happy spouse runs the house, man. I know that you're still working on that newlywed stuff, but I mean, if that car is that fast, she's gonna be like, "Where's mine?" That make a good anniversary present, like a new car.
Yeah. I mean, this one took me a while to build. If I was to build another one, it'd be for next year. But I think right now she'd rather have a new street vehicle or a house. So
There you go.
that's
There
up to
you
her.
go.
That's good. Smart young lady right there. So I do have to ask you. I mean, talk about the part. My dad built two race cars. His race cars, and later, well, one of them later became mine. But the pride. I mean, because whether you're out of the box like that, winning a race like you did, and just like I said, just thrashing the field like you did, or just whatever, getting it on the ground and getting it to the racetrack. Talk about that part, because I don't think people think these things are really easy to build, and they're not. When build is putting it mildly when you're doing one of these race cars.
Yeah. I didn't really know how much went into it, but I mean, as far as building it, this is kind of what I do at work every day. I'm a pipe fitter welder, so
Oh, nice. Okay.
you know the tube bending and figuring out all the angles and stuff. I kind of learned a little bit more while building this, but I kind of had a good idea of it. And so the building process wasn't something that I've never,
Yeah.
done, but I just didn't expect how much actually goes into it. And I know there are a couple of people that build their own chassis, like You got Dalton Faulkner and obviously Whitehead, but he builds a lot of them. But it's just you don't see it a whole lot anymore. I know back in the day everybody ran a home built chassis, but now that you got Outlaws, Destroyers, and
Yep.
all these big chassis companies that they have all their stuff figured out. Like they can tell you as soon as you buy it what springs, what everything that you need to know about it to make it fast. But building one by yourself, you don't really have that to bounce back on, and you just got to figure it out yourself.
How long before the 29K race car building shop opens up? Because hell, apparently you know what you're doing.
I would love to do that, but I don't know if I can build them fast enough to make any money off of it.
That's true.
But that'd be fun.
Yep.
Who knew, right? Your racing hobby could do. It's amazing how far the business has come on aspect, especially with something like a factory stock chassis, right? Like something that's supposed to be like a cross between a hobby stock and a stock. They're now get $20,000-$30,000 for a turnkey car on the low side. So that would be that to me is a surprise how much that business has changed in terms of that. So how did you determine the geometry? I mean, was it just something that you went by gut feel, or did
Yeah,
you
pretty
just take
much.
the measure from Taylor's? How did you come up with the angles and all of that?
I just got a text
Well-
from somebody wanting his numbers. I'm like, he's not going to give you his numbers. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it was just an experiment. I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of had a good idea in my head and just started building it.
Yeah.
But-
That's how it goes. That's how it goes. It's kind of, I mean, many a good race car has been built that way. And the thing is, though, what you have to think about, last one for me, Dylan, is you come out of the box like this, now you can go back and tweak it.
Yeah.
I think the fun is just beginning.
Yeah, there was a couple issues, in the front end that I probably just looked over while putting it together, but I'm gonna get it on turn plates and everything this week and actually dial it in. But I was just trying to get it ready. I was just trying to get it to the track so I didn't lose out on points, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah, man.
Well, dude, that was fun. Tentatively, if everything goes according to plan, I'll be able to watch you in person coming up weekend. So maybe we'll get a chance to chat some more, and you can show me all this nuts and bolts of this new car you built, man. So best of luck next week, and good luck with the wrap and all that. Although I would keep just the tape numbers, man. I mean, put the monster
Yeah.
stickers on it and just roll with it. If it's that
Oh, it looks so fast.
fast,
Yeah.
don't make it slow down.
We actually had the decals made. We just run out of time to put them on, and we had them at the track with us, but I didn't want to mess it up. It was already dirty, and didn't want to put stickers over dirt. So I told my dad, I was like, I think we just need to put duct tape numbers on it for tonight. And he spent probably an hour putting on duct tape numbers. I was like, if we were going to take this long, we'd just put the decals on. But he was trying to make it look good and symmetrical and stuff, which he did a pretty good job. But
No, I tell you, it didn't matter what the decals looked like. Hell, you couldn't see them. You're going too fast, my man. You were going way too fast. But hey, and a good night for the trucks too. I mean, good night for you there in the trucks, chasing old Papa-in-law down over there, the old goat.
yeah. He found some more speed since the last race, so I guess I'll have to start working on mine again.
Yeah. So at Jack Sandifer's deal, we were talking about you because they were wondering, if you had gotten out to work that morning because you'd been in the shop so late, and then that came up, and Heath was talking about, well, I don't work on them like I used to. I'm like, bullshit. You're way too fast. You're way too fast.
Yeah. He just knows what he's doing, so he doesn't have to work on it too much. He just knows what needs to get done and gets that done.
No doubt.
So, Dylan, last one for me. How's that dynamic working out now? Is it any different but before the wedding? Does he give you now less advice now because y'all officially father-in-law, son-in-law now? How's that dynamic working now?
I think he gives me more advice now. Like, I don't know if I would have. He gave me a lot of good ideas on stuff to do for the new car.
Yep.
Yeah, I probably asked him 1,000 questions on should I do it this way or this way, and he'd be like, "Well, I think you should do it this way because of this, this, and this." You know, he's been racing for so long that he knows all of the issues with the designs of his other cars that now building mine, I can try to avoid some of those. And yeah, he definitely helped out a lot trying to
Yep.
design it and stuff.
A lot of knowledge right there with that dude. Good dude also, Heath Stewart. Dylan, congratulations, my man. Hell of a run. Looking forward to the next one. You guys kind of have them stacked up right there. So keep on keeping on, man. Love what I'm seeing from you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Y'all have a good
Take
one.
care. You bet, man. There he goes, Dylan Kowalik in that 29K. That was his first time out in that brand new machine. And like I said, if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it because he put it on him pretty good. Put it on him very, very good at Cotton Bowl Speedway. So let's dive in. So a little Cotton Bowl conversation there. And now we're going to go over and talk. We were talking about I-37, talking about all the tracks racing this past weekend. And we bring in the man himself. It is the great Ray Doyon. And Ray, you got to say it, my man. You got to say it for me one time.
Might be the last time.
I know.
Hello, I-37 Speedway fans.
Boom! Every time. Oh, we'll have to clip that one and keep that. Ray, before we get into all that, talk about the other night. Looked like a fun night for you guys out there at 37.
It did. It looked good, and I was not there. I took my wife somewhere different than races for her birthday. So
Nice.
went and took care of the missus. You know, she'd been putting up with this racing stuff for a long time. So we went and did something different, and Mike and the gang did a great job. We had gotten a lot of rain early in the week down there, and we definitely wanted to get the race in, so we didn't give up and got it ready, got the night in.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's crazy. We've talked to you multiple times, and we all get to, not everybody gets to see it first. Amazing how much work goes on behind the scenes, especially when it's like a week of nonstop rain, and it's like you don't want to give up because you want to race, but yet you're just sitting there looking at a lake in the middle of your infield, and it's just like, the drive. I think people underestimate the drive of motors, where it's like, to get this in, we strive to do that. What's that schedule been like for you the last couple of years?
Stressful at times, you know what I mean? Like, you drive up and you hope it's not as bad as you're thinking, but sometimes it is. So, it's supposed to be. Look, I'll put it this way: before I ever started promoting with Mike, I used to just go be that guy. I'd show up about 5:30, unload all my stuff, talk to my buddies, kind of get ready, go to driver's meeting, or sometimes don't go to driver's meeting, right? Because there's always those racers in the crowd too. and had no clue what it took to put an event on. And now, after 10 years, I'm like, holy crap, much respect for anybody that is in charge of racing facilities, especially dirt. I'm not knocking on asphalt. It's just, dirt. You got to work with the dirt. It's like the major challenges. But yeah, so when you drive up, you're just hoping, things aren't flooded or broken or, everything else that could go wrong. But man, it's been fun. I respect the sport so much more. I'll put it that way. That's for sure.
No doubt about it. And with your time, again, what we'll talk to Ray about here in just a little bit, he and Mike stepping away there from I-37 after just, reviving the track. I mean, anybody that takes one of these over these days, they're usually reviving it. And these guys have just done a tremendous job there at I-37. So I do want to ask you, how proud are you? Because I mentioned this a while ago. I know the fireballs are popping up everywhere and, this, that, and the other. That's your fucking class. I'm sorry. That's your class. That's a 37 class. And then, you know, with the late models, you know, it's like, well, I don't know about the late model. You guys have just dug your heels in, and it's when you think of late models anywhere in South Texas, it's your track. Kind of talk about those two classes, man, because those are great divisions.
Yeah, so I think it was 3 years ago now or so. We were in the office in the off season, me and Mike and I think Cammy Peterson, and I don't know if there was anybody else, but we were like, man, we need a more affordable class, and like, where do we get the cars from, and you know, what do we do? And I'm like, man, I know there's a bunch of old asphalt cars and dirt cars that have weight jackers in them, and you know, have all these clips and all this stuff, and they're already pretty much ready to go. You know, like let's create a class to allow racers to drag them out of the weeds, dig them out of their barns, wherever they were at, right? Because and I know there's way more out there still. But so we were like, okay, well, that sounds good, but what about motors? You know, because that's the chassis half the cost, the motors the other half, right? I'm like, well, shit, all these guys got these old double hump heads and turbo heads and all this big cams and all this. Let's let them run it, you know, just almost run what you brung. You know, who cares if it's got pop-ups or if it's got, you know, stroke rods and whatever, but let's just put a chip roll. And they were like, shit, I think it'll work. And I said, well, let's try it. And they said, well, we're going to call it. And I'm like, nothing stock cars. I mean, since I've been racing, we've had pure stocks, hobby stocks, street stocks, hot stocks. I might have already said that. And anything freaking stock you could have in a class. So I'm like, screw that. And then I was like, how about fireballs? And then they're like, yeah, that's cool. And I was like, yeah, we'll get the winner to drink a shot of Fireball after every event, which I've done a bad job of providing that after each event. Of course, Blaine Margraf might not have been allowed to do that, you know, but anyway. But
just don't do it on.
That's where we came up with it, man. And it's working out good. Got a really affordable tire. You don't have to be strained so hard on engine rules or chassis rules, you know. So I think the guys really like the class, and I hope it continues to grow.
Yep.
Well, like Rodney said,
And
you guys never gave up on late models, man. Like it was like, you know, all the other tracks were trying to get late models with that crate late model deal going, and they just never showed up. But for some reason, you guys just kept plugging away, and then now you know you guys got, you know, decent car count for late models on the dirt in South Texas. What made you not want to give up on that? Because I know at some point you got to throw your hands up, but you guys just kept on going with that class.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't hide the fact that I own 3.5 of them, you know, and we want a place to race. So I'm not naive, you know, and I don't want people to think, oh, Ray's just, you know, full of shit. But so, you know, obviously we have our own selfish motivational reasons to run them, but it's the fastest class in Texas other than sprints, you know. Like, if people want to see speed and, you know, a lot of noise and, you know, shit, come to the I-37 Speedway and watch the late models, because that's where it's at, is if you want to see the fastest class. And if we could get everybody to show up at the same time on one night, I know we could have at least 16, 17, you know, on a regular night. And, you know, if we could get that on a regular basis, then it shows promises where we can increase the purse. But, you know, we just got to get to that point where all the late model guys in our area are like, all right, let's do it. You know, let's go show up, rah, you know, and get the guys to go, and then, you know, force I-37 to pay us more, because that's what we want to do, but we can't do it on, you know, 9, 10, 11 cars. So, but I don't want to sound negative. It's not that. It's just, you know, like, we have the cars in the area. We just got to get everybody on the same page at the same time.
Absolutely. So you guys moving on, like we talked about, just after a great run there, and like you said, and when I text you to come on, I'm like, man, if I mean, feel free to challenge people. I mean, you don't have to like say names. You can if you want. I don't care. But it's like, lay this thing out. I mean, because like you said, and Bobby mentioned it too, people have no idea what all goes into all of this. This is going to take somebody to come in, and it's got to be, like you said in your announcement, it's not so much about money and all that, it's about time. There's a lot of time that goes into this.
Yeah. So if I was to grade Mike and I on the past 10 years, let's go the past 9, because this year I'm giving it the old Steven Whitaker last season, don't give a shit a little bit, and he'll be the first to tell you that's what he did down there. And I don't mean to, I'm not totally abandoning. I'm not quite as zoned in, on a lot of things at the track. But if I was to give us a grade for the past 9 years, 1 to 10, I'd say 7. Okay. Honestly, it just takes a little more time. And Mike and I just don't have the time to, go in the community and knock on doors, shake hands, pass out flyers, pass out, free race passes to some businesses that they can use to give to their customers, maybe, or whatever it may be. Schools, police stations, fire department, get involved. It just takes time, and that stuff doesn't cost a person any money. It's just effort and a little bit of time, right? I know you're not going to get paid that day when you spend your day just shaking hands, right? But the return's going to be, on that race weekend when you have a bunch of people show up and they're spending money at your facility. So that's what I meant by you don't necessarily have to have all the money in the world. Now, if you got some extra money, there's, it would help for sure, because you can spend it on, fixing up the place a little more, doing a few little more things, and advertisement, and just other things. But Mike and I just really don't have the time or the youth to get it to that level where somebody's saying, hey, if I was let's say the next guy, Joe Walsh is the next promoter. Like, hey, Joe, man, I'm gonna give him a grade this year of a 9. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm hoping for I-37 Speedway. I'm not gonna be bitter or jealous, and neither is Mike. We want a nicer, better place to race. Him and I are gonna be the first to work with somebody when they have questions, like, hey, where's this at, or what do I need to do here, as far as if something's broke, or what I mean, or just facility questions or whatever. We're not going to run and hide. We want it to be successful, and I'm going to sponsor and donate the next year to help get it going, and whatever it takes. I just can't do day-to-day operations anymore. Too busy.
Yep.
So as bringing the track back from the dead, which you guys did, I mean, it sat vacant for a number of years. Did it come out? Was there like this 10-year dream plan that y'all had, or was it fancy in the beginning because you were racers and had an idea what racers wanted? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, over the course of the last, we'll say 9 years, because you said the 10 years a little give and take. But I mean, did it go according to plan or not? I mean, I know that wall coming down a couple of seasons ago wasn't even remotely part of the plan. But what's your overall take on that?
Every season there was always a big obstacle or hurdle, it seemed like. So it is what it is. When you inherit something that was built a long time ago and not pristine, they didn't do a pristine job the first time, you get what you get. But I'll be honest, I think that our goal was to have a fun place to race, a fair place to race. We weren't the best at dirt prep. We're still not the best at dirt prep. We got crappy dirt most of the time. Like, we just need more dirt on the track. I mean, it's decent. I sound condescending to our own operation, but I just strive for things to be better, right? I got these World of Outlaw late model dreams, of a race and stuff, but it's hard. Like, you got to get to that breaking point on the operation of where you're making money enough to reinvest, twofold, and just kind of upkeep and do things better and better and better. And I feel like people will notice it, like the bathrooms, right? That was a whole nother off-season challenge one year. Tore down all the old bathrooms. They were on a wood floor, and it was crickety crackety shaky, and you didn't know if a rat or snake or raccoon or possum might be in there with you. But now I feel like we got concrete, we got air conditioning, air fresheners, and it feels a little homey. So yeah, as a whole, we've done some good things. proud of what we done. We took over a poop hole, and now it's just a pee hole. No, uh, but it's better, and I wanted to see it go to another level. And I just hope the right person can get it, and put effort into it, do get some sponsorships, advertisement behind it, and make it better. That's what I want, and I know all the racers in our area want that too.
And I think that because that's one of the things that and you've I mean, we didn't talk about this before other than just the couple of conversations right there, but you've actually done everything that I was hoping you would do, to where somebody watching this, if they want to take this chance, because I mean, the facilities, I mean, it is the work that you have done there. And then, like Bobby talked about, when the damn wall fell down and all that shit, I mean, that's all done.
Yeah.
That's all done. You've kind of put a nice little picnic spot out there for folks where the next people can come in and kind of take it to the next point. So hopefully that's what happens. I think.
Yeah. Whoever takes it over is going to have a further head start than us. So yeah. So that's the goal. And I know you mentioned the wall twice, and if you don't mind, man, I want some of the key role players in that wall were Mike Terry with Comanche Concrete, Tony Bernal with AT1, construction, Jeff with 1-8 transportation, Wheeling Lights. Man, they donated, nice lights. We got NASCAR lights, and I'm not exaggerating. They are NASCAR quality lights. Horizon Cable. And then, some of the racing community came out and helped us finish tearing some of it down. It was a big undertaking. And then the landowners, Mr. Gonzalez, that owns the property, he gave us a few months free rent to help out. I mean, it was the effort and everything that everybody put into it was outstanding. And if you go look at our wall now and check it out, it's impressive. It looks so much better and safer.
Yeah. That's good.
Yes, sir.
So, Ray, what of all the promoters we talk to, one of the challenges they all seem to face is that it's so hard to want to invest in infrastructure on a place that you don't own, right? And it's like it's that necessary evil. Like, you had to put in new bathrooms, you had to upgrade, some of the light fixtures and some of that stuff. Talk about that plight there, being the promoter, when you still got to pay the rent, but yet you've got other projects that need to happen to be the betterment of the overall experience at the racetrack.
Yeah, it's challenging. You got to weigh the pros and cons, and basically I think that you got to say, okay, well, I got to sacrifice a little money and effort and work to do this, and what's the return on it? So there's value to everything. It's challenging, but the doctor's great to work with. I'm sure if it was something that would be real permanent that you wanted to do, he'd work with you in some form or aspect of the whole operation, so.
Lastly, Ray, so the rest of the year for you guys, still plenty of events. So folks, it's not like the track's not going to be there. I mean, the track's going to be moving forward. It's a great, like we said, it's a great layout there that's there moving forward, but you still have the rest of 2026. Kind of talk about that part, and then to finish you guys the 10-year out. I don't have the schedule in front of me. Is there like the DTK? Is that going to be like the see ya?
Yeah.
How's all that going to work?
Yeah, so we still got all of our regular points races, and we're thinking about adding one race because we've had a few rainouts already. Mike and I talked about it today. We want to give everybody enough opportunity in advance to reschedule if they have something planned, but we might add one. We're talking about adding another Redneck Stress Relief in October. Because we don't have anything planned in October, and it's a great event, and it'll help to make a little money, and just to, and we can use those numbers for the next person that's going to step up and run this thing, and then DTK, we're going to go out with a bang. We haven't announced all the classes yet. We're working on it, but we want to go out with a bang, and I'm hoping whoever takes over the track, they're willing to work with us and keep that race going, because it's Mike and my father and Johnny's father, and it means a lot to us, and we'll try to build on it some more, and maybe I'll have more time to, behind the scenes help do more for that event when I'm not so spread thin with my businesses and the track, on a regular basis. So I would love to do that. But just we've got one, maybe two people interested, so it's a little bit of a work in progress. Part of me just doesn't want to just turn it over to just anybody, but at the end of the day, Ray has to go live his own life and do other things, and so does Mike. So so if you're out there and if you're curious or interested, reach out to us. We're not gonna hide anything or lie about anything. We're gonna be honest and open about everything, and we want it to be successful. We want it to be better.
So one last thing for me, Ray, because I know this is also very near and dear to your heart. Speaking of heart attacks, that Game 7 in Oklahoma City the other day was a little bit challenging. What do you think? The Spurs in 6, Spurs in 7, the Knicks in 5? I mean, what do you think about the prospects of this NBA Finals coming to the Alamo City?
Great question, and we should have done a better job. See, this is another aspect of our promoting skills that we're lacking. We should have had some TVs or a projector screen at our track on Saturday night but Chris Workman did a great job of keeping up the score with everybody, and so all that. But let's get to your question. So I have season tickets, right? I got awesome seats. We sit literally right in front of Manu Ginobili and David Robinson. These guys. I mean, we're not courtside. We're back about 13 rows, but they're right there. So every round, our damn ticket prices go up, and I'm like, holy shit! I got the bill today, and I'm like, I ain't going. So I sold them. I sold those suckers, but I'm hoping it goes. I hope the Spurs sweep. Probably not going to happen. It's probably going to go to at least Game 5. I'm going to break down and go to Game 5 so I can say I went to a finals at least once in my life. But I'll tell you what, as a season ticket holder, and we went quite a bit. They're impressive, but I got my own bones to pick with you got a 7'5" guy, and he don't post up down low and do more things down low when their matchup, is, in our favor. But they're smarter than me. I'm just a redneck and hillbilly racer. So, I enjoy everything at the games, and I hope the Spurs do great. And I wish to God everybody would quit going to military drive and acting the fool. It's stupid.
It's out of control, man.
In high school, military drive was my hood, like on Friday and Saturday nights. That's what we did. We cruised, and it was peaceful. We hot rodded, right? But this crap is it's stupid. Like, God, it's embarrassing.
Ray, here, I think when the Spurs win the championship, that night, I-37, $20 a carload, come on in, bring your own whatever, and but then they might mess up your track. I mean, you don't want to leave it in bad shape for somebody else. But I'll tell you the thing to think about it, because me too, man, Spurs fan for forever. I mean, I dug out my 1999 newspapers when we beat New York the first time. But it's like, just think about this. These guys are just getting started. They're babies.
Oh yeah, they're young. What Carter Bryant's like 20, and Harper's 21, Wemby's 21 or 22. It's impressive, but they buy into the system, man, and it's just great to see young guys give themselves to each other and play for each other and play for their coach and play for a system instead of their self and their egos. You know what I mean?
Well, Peter Holt and those guys do a really good job of setting that expectation there. So looking forward to that.
Yes, sir.
Ray, congratulations, man. You guys have done a hell of a job there at 37. It ain't over yet. Yet. I say
we got a lot of fun.
Yep. I say this a lot, but I will get down to see you guys before your time is done. So
come on, man. Let's have some fun. We want you there. We want you to come out. We'll make it a fun to do. We'll do something special.
Right on. Sounds like a plan. All right, dude. Enjoy, and we'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Catch your Brasada gear on Facebook. My son owns a company. I got to plug him.
Got it.
Later, guys.
We'll push that out. See you later,
man. He's got good stuff. Yeah, bye.
Right on. Later. There he goes, Ray Doyon. And those guys really have.
They have done, from what they started with to what they have now down there is it's 10 years of an overnight sensation, right? Like, I mean, they didn't start with what they had now. They started, it wasn't the most spectacular place, right? I'm not trying to be negative about the place, but what they started with versus what they have now, they've had to make investments in the right spot. And they certainly have the racers and fans at I-37 are very loyal. They are very, very loyal to Ray and Mike, and that's a good thing. You want loyal racers because that's what the loyal racers help keep the lights on and stuff like that. The guys and gals you can count on every week. But it's nice to have a good reputation within the racing community to get those stragglers that aren't sure, that they may not come in and run first through fifth, but they may come in and have a top 10 finish. You need racers like that with that mentality to come in and help pay the bills versus just the bare minimum to barely keep the lights on.
And when we were talking about major, kind of the major hub cities and all that, like CBS and Austin and like with 37 in San Antonio, we talk about that a lot, to where that 37's the track where it's like, okay, that's over there near San Antonio. And it's like, well, it's in the same general vasectomy, but it's not very close. But I do think that with 37, that kind of pays dividends, because it's like right there. If you've never been to 37, it sits right off of I-37. And I-37 connects, goes way the hell up north, and then it essentially connects San Antonio to Corpus Christi, and there's all of that, and there's other thoroughfares that'll get you in there. So location is great. Like he's talked about the improvements to the facilities. I love when you asked him that, because where it's been tough for Ray and Mike is they were going to make improvements anyway, but a lot of the improvements that they had to make, they had to, literally had to, because shit was falling apart. But it's in a really good spot. And this is where I personally challenge someone there, because it's like, so many folks in that area talk about how important it is to keep that going. And I'm not saying, Bobby Chaffee, you go do it, whatever. Find somebody to go do it, and find somebody. I liked where he said about you got to be picky about that, because when this happens, and we've seen them, lots of them that have lots of ideas. And the resume's incredible. And that's the thing, when folks come in and they want to take that over and they start telling us about their resume, it's like, whoa, no fact checking. It's like the news, no fact checking. So I'm hoping somebody jumps in there and takes that over, because it's in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, it definitely is a good spot. They're pulling from, you still get to pull from the metro area.
Sure.
From San Antonio. Obviously, you've got your country boys, if you will, that are further out. It's a drive from the north side of San Antonio. It is. It's not, it's not easy to get there. I guess it is easy once you get 281, come all the way down to 37.
Yeah.
So, but they face the same challenges every racetrack faces about getting them there. And that's the key, right? When you have something that far out, you've got to have the loyalty, and it's on both sides of that fence. You got to have the fans that want to come back every race. You got to have the racers that want to come back every race. And it's a challenge. Like I said, I remember back in the day when San Antonio Speedway was open, and I helped with the management of that place. When the Spurs were in the playoffs, you saw this, attendance at the racetrack plummeted. Attendance on the driver's side plummeted. Everybody wanted to stay at home and watch the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
That was when they were kind of somewhat mediocre. They weren't even in the dynasty that they were now. They had just one championship, but then when they started doing good, it was killing San Antonio Speedway to be open the same time that the Spurs were on TV on a Saturday night.
And like Ray was talking about, this is where it's so different now, because you have to have that aspect now, to where, the possibility of having somehow to where you can go to the races and we can all stay in tune with what's going on with the phones and all
with
these
your sports
things.
app. It's there right at the fingertips anyways, but it's whether or not you want to watch it in a Barker Lounger or you want to watch it in person.
Yeah. And that's where I think Owen did a really good job at the race ranch initially, when he had the big old screens, because it was like, you would go out there and shit, there was football on. There was football on in the afternoon. I remember there were a couple of different times where there was Longhorn games and A&M games. I think Texas OU was on at one time, or Texas and somebody, but Owen understood. Owen's not a Texas fan, but Owen understood that having the Texas game on was going to have, and people were there early to watch it, So that's just kind of different things that you have to do there. But I think it's for the capture there with I-37 Speedway. And again, you can message them, as Ray talked about. You can check out their Facebook page, look at what they've done, just kind of chase some of the history. It's a great fan base. The fan base is extremely loyal, like it is at most of the South Texas tracks. The infrastructure is really good. The location is amazing. I'm really hoping, like with the Fireball thing and the late models, that's something that can continue to grow. And like Ray and them aren't going away. They're just not going to be the full throwing
they're not going to be the face of the place. The faces that run the place no more.
Right. Absolutely. So big thanks to Ray Doyon for joining us.
And I appreciate the honesty out of Ray too. Like that's hard to find in promoters nowadays.
Well, Ray's gonna tell you. Ray's gonna tell you like it is, and that's where I think that Ray and Mike have, like, in their time doing this is a humbling fucking sport. Like, I don't care whether you're driving or whatever you're doing. And these guys that were racers, that were, their dads and all the different parts. When you go to the other side of the fence, and you and I know this as well as anybody else, we haven't been race promoters, but we've been in different spots, whether it be media or promotions or whatever it is. When you move to that other side where you're like in control of stuff, it's like, whether it's a budget, whether it's calls, whether it's whatever it is, it's like, that will change your entire outlook. That's why I'm so hard on race fans all the time. When people, I get messages from people, why are you always bitching about the race fans? I'm like, because they have no clue what goes into this. They really have no clue.
Mm-hmm. Some do, some don't. And the racers don't understand it either. And you've noticed it. It's not just locally. Like I think it has to do with social media as an extent. It's like when the promoters have to put out the basic newsletter of, hey, look, this is the plight of the promoter. If you cancel a race because of rain, you got to put a picture of the racetrack being flooded for people to still say, just pump it out and let's go racing. Well, sometimes it's not that damn simple.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everybody's got an opinion, thanks to social media, but it's like when you have to defend every decision you make, that shit gets old.
It does. It really does. I mean, you're in control, but you're always having to defend your position, and you're always having to defend your whatever. And that's unfortunately one of the rules.
Like, think of our buddy Joe Spoonman, who said it best: everybody likes to do gangster shit until it's trying to write the gangster check.
That's right. That's exactly right. Good stuff right there. All right, coming up, we'll have our Sean Folsom photography picture of the week, our photo of the week. We'll have that. Break down a couple of other tidbits as we sail you into a brand new race week. And now in June 1st, as we get set for the summer. The heat is coming. But first, a word from our friends at My Race Pass. And, of course, another word from our great partners over at On Demand Shirts.
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the ultimate racing resource.
Why is branded apparel so important for your company? Well, because a shirt or even a hat that has your brand on it gets worn to grocery stores, baseball games, or even family reunions. The impressions are endless and they last years. Contact us today so we can help elevate your company.
On Demand Shirts, official apparel provider of Bobby Chaffee, of me, of Revved Up, of Dirty Air Sports, and a lot of you guys. Great folks right there in San Antonio talking about the rich San Antonio area tradition. Well, that's a big part of it right there. On Demand Shirts, they've continued to carry that on, doing some really cool stuff. As always, our man Sugar Sean Folsom, one of our staff members here on the photography side. You see him here from time to time. Hell, now we can call him an online host because, hell, he's done some stuff with you. So branching out right there. The Sean Folsom Photography Photo of the Week right here every week on the Revved Up Sports Show. And Sean right here sends us this one over as we will move ourselves over here. And Sean, this past week over at Cotton Bowl Speedway, obviously kind of one of his home bases right there, kind of a home track for him. This is IMCA stock car action, and you got a 3-wide battle right there as they go with Kobe Allen, Ray McSpadden, Mike Terry, and Austin Smith right there digging in. And with Cotton Bowl, that capture right there from Sean, those stock cars are badass to watch over at CBS.
Yeah, they get after it over there at the high banks, and I mean it's a speed plant. We always tell everybody, if you've never been to Cotton Bowl and want to experience dirt track speed, I mean it's not necessarily like an Eldora speed or some of those other tracks, but around here, I mean, it's the place to do it. It takes the testicular fortitude to run around the top and run around that place wide ass open.
Yeah, because in that track right there, I've said this so many different times that would be the perfect asphalt track. I mean, CBS is built like an asphalt track. If you look at some of the tracks that we talk about here in the South and the ones up, maybe Waco a little bit kind of would factor in too, where maybe it could be. But the way that you look at CBS is kind of a paperclip. I mean, honestly, the turns are a little shorter. Nothing is sweeping. You don't have back straightaways that kind of take you out like 37, and you don't have dog legs on the front stretch. It's a paperclip, and it's got a fence all the way around it. But man, these stock cars, and this is where I go back to the Kowalik thing where I was talking with him when we were talking with him. Dude, that car, it looked, and again with the track prep, he was driving like a pavement track. He was diamonding off the corners. He would hit the gas, the ass end sat down, and he just launched down the straightaway. But that happens a lot at CBS because that track is that fast.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what happens down there. I mean, you just see it. What we found over the years is when somebody hits it, I mean, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, somebody goes lights out. It's a battle for second on certain nights, but that's just how competitive it is. It's usually not the same guy that checks out every night. Usually it's a different guy or girl in some cases, some of the lady racers out there.
Absolutely. And the stock cars right there, Cameron Starry, I believe, was the winner. He's got a pretty good grip on that division right now there at CBS. So, but that is your Sean Folsom Photography Photo of the Week, and we will have one of those each and every week right here on Revved Up. All right, so before we get out of here, we kind of talked a little bit about the NASCAR action last night, but I do want to get to Dateline Kennedale Speedway and the American Crate Late Model Series. You familiar with this, Bob, what I'm talking about?
I caught part of it. I didn't get a chance to research the exact whole thing, but I know it dealt with DQs and pictures and a lot of other things that realistically the track's getting bashed about, and it's not really something the track has control over.
Yeah, so the American Crate Late Model Series rolls into Kennedale, and this is where again, when we talk about promoters having different things to do, when a series comes in like this, you have the races happening at the track, but the series has its own set of rules and has its own whatever that they're going to do their own teching most of the time. You're going out of their rule book, which is whether it be race procedures, whatever the case, and it's just so crazy. And to me, it's even stranger we're having this conversation June 1st, 2026 in this day and age. But one of the American Crate Late Model rules is when it comes to post-race celebrations. And, you see it at every track where somebody wins. And honestly, to me, it's a little more of a pain in the ass to get people down to come take pictures. And I'm all about efficiency. Yeah, I want a show to continue moving, but I get if you're going to allow people to come down, it's one of those distractions and one of those delays that's going to happen. But with the American Crate Late Model Series, they don't allow that. They absolutely don't allow that. Kennedale has a system where they do in their regular shows, and they have a nice platform.
Nice walkway to come over there. Yeah.
They've got all that set up. Chase Holland wins that race. The family comes down. They're doing whatever. And the series throws him out. And the racetrack is surprised. Again, this is a series rule. Your thoughts here. This is where it gets so hard because, again, apply to the promoter, series rules, racetrack rules. Kennedale don't give a shit what they do for the post-race thing. They're used to that. The late model series doesn't.
I think that it comes down. That's the responsibility of the driver and the team to know the rule. In my opinion, because we've seen it firsthand at certain tracks. There are some nights that you just can't, the way the flow of the show, some of that, and it's a very razor thin edge because you want the racers to take pictures with family and friends and sponsors and people that help make that stuff happen. Because a lot of times it's not just one person on their own that gets these race cars to the racetrack and helps pay for it. So you want to have the opportunity, you and I, when we do the victory lane celebrations, you want the people to enjoy it. You want them to remember it. As Kyle Busch says, you never know when it's going to be the last one, especially when it ends up being the first one. Like, you want them to enjoy it. But, if your series doesn't allow it, it doesn't matter what the track has done in the past. The track has had the winner do jumping jacks on the front straightaway. But if the series rules say no jumping jacks and you start doing jumping jacks at the racetrack and they throw you out, that was on you to know the rule.
Yeah. And I'm seeing a lot of the American Crate Late Model Series taking it on the chin about this. They're following their rules. I mean, we just had this conversation last week about Jack Sandifer, to where it's like he wasn't going to make an exception for anybody. I mean, it didn't matter who it was. I mean, the series that it's apparently written in there, and like you said, the drivers know, the teams know you cannot do this, and they are going by what. I mean, is the rule silly? I mean,
it doesn't really make sense to not have people celebrate. But, you can have too many people in a damn picture, too. Like, there's a limit to how many people you want to get. You can't let every single fan, every single sponsor, everybody down there. You can't get 30 people around the damn car and then expect them to be back in the stands in a timely manner. There's a method to the madness, Immediate family, immediate sponsors, that's it. You can't have your cousin's brother's ex-girlfriend come into the picture because she used to help you wax and wash the car.
Yeah. She caused your divorce. No, I'm just kidding. And that's where you go back, where I go back to, and again, I hate these conversations because I'm really trying hard to not be a Richard, but when it comes down to like meet and greet, I know those are important. I truly know that those are important, and this is where kind of the old man in me, the meet and greet for me was at the end. I mean, at the end.
Yeah, but nobody does that anymore. Everybody shags ass and it's over.
Yeah.
You don't get the next kids involved because there's nobody left for the kids to go see. If it hits 10 o'clock, people are gone. It doesn't matter what the hell's left.
And it was like cars would wreck, Bobby. And I'm like, okay, I got to go find number 18 or whoever it was. I got to go find that car because I want to look at the crumpled up metal, and the smell. And the cool thing was, back in those days, hell, if you walked up to somebody, they might give you a tire. They might give you a pit pass. They might give you a bent fender. I mean, I had so much shit that the guys would give me. I had a Slick Yeoman Slick. Obviously, that was pretty cool. I had an old McCrary that Slick gave me, but yeah, that's where I'm going with this is I'm not the biggest fan of that, because that when we talk about distractions and we talk about what's it called, attention spans and all of that shit just takes up time. Getting people on and off the track, and like you said, everybody's related at that point. Oh, that's my 18th cousin that just won. And there's all of that. And as well as I do, I see you doing this over there at Texana, to where you have people out on the track and it's like, all right, get out. I mean, go. I mean, get out of here. I mean, so if a rule is written saying that that's not allowed, it's not allowed. And to Chase Holland's credit, I mean, that they have been like, I don't think that they knew that. I don't think that they knew that. And shit happens, And I've seen, well, he needs to be paid. I got a message saying, y'all need to pay Chase Holland. I'm like, that's kind of what led me to the story. I'm like, wait, what? What did we do wrong?
Yeah,
anyway,
right? Not us.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it sucks, but You don't write the rules for fun, right?
Yeah, don't, I mean, and there's a fine line. I mean, there's a fine line. Like for instance, with us on Saturday, we had a guy in the factory stocks win the race, right? And then we had somebody say, it was the last race, we were done, the night was over, and a gentleman came up and said, "Hey, can we come down and take a picture?" And I was like, the driver's like, "Yeah, sure, if that's okay with you." He asked me, so that's okay with you? I said, "We're done. You'll be fine. Take a picture." They come down, take the picture as a family. It's a mom, a dad, and a little girl, and they're like, "This is the first time we've ever come to the races." So
Yep.
it's like, hell yes, come down, take a picture with this driver, take a picture in front of this car. Of course, then it was like, well, then of course we were talking to the driver, and I was like, "Oh, you know what?" He's like, "Man, I got to get the tech." I was like, "Well, tell them you was up front with me doing public relations. If they have a problem, tell them to come get with me." Because then, at that point it was about making memories and making people want to come back to the track than it was, getting the guy to tech. Obviously, he's not cheating, redoing his car on the front straightaway, taking pictures with fans,
Well, no, I'll tell you later.
Yeah, if the engine cools off, it gets a little smaller, but
But yeah, never mind. I told you I've been watching races all day, and I have lots of notes of shit that I watched, and I'm not going to tell you until we're done. But this really goes back to where a lot of the tracks, I mean, they've done a great job of setting up the backdrops, to where you have the victory lane, all of that, to where you do the on track. This is like with the NASCAR stuff. Do you like the on track interview, or do you want the victory lane? I happen to think that when it should be what like this, I mean, take the picture, whatever, keep the show moving. And I'm sure that that's what the American Crate Late Model Series is trying to do, because they're coming in. This is where you can look at it two different ways, because our friends at Stems, I know that when the Southern Touring IMCA Modified Series comes to town, when they're done with their race, shit, that's a whole post-race show that's going on out there. They're talking to every Tom, Dick, and Harry on the track, the top four. But but that's part of the way that's built. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the Stems rules where, like, if you, let's say, Bobby, you race and you finish second, but you don't go to the interview, do you get thrown out? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the series, in my opinion, didn't do anything wrong, because that rule is written.
If the rule's not there, they do something wrong. Right. They handled it wrong. They did it wrong. But if that rule's there, don't blame anybody.
Yeah. And stay off the racetrack, because that's the hardest part too. With you can't be beating up the racetrack, because when the series comes in, they have their own rules. And like when I raced in DCRST, we rolled in, we had our own tech or whatever. And the thing about it is, like, and this is where Brad Bush and all of these guys, Terry Barden, when he was in that spot, or that they would come down before, and they're like, anything changing, you're doing your own tech. I'll be your race director. Any calls, there's going to be a representative that's going to be the one that if it's something that would affect the race, right? I mean, doing their homework. So, but the rules like these are the ones that are so, I mean, you can't really forecast these, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's hard, with Kennedale, because I've seen that catwalk thing, and it's like, man, it's super easy. I mean, it makes it faster. And I saw pictures of Chase Holland and them out there, but yeah, it's kind of one of the rules, man. Kind of one of the rules.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate scenario, and it feels like everybody's getting bashed unfairly to a certain extent. I mean, the series is getting bashed for enforcing a rule. The track is getting bashed because a series enforced their rule.
Yeah,
the track had no control over. Chase Holland's getting bashed because they're like, "Oh, well, you should have known better." His family's like, "Well, hell, we want the picture, we want we want the trophy and all that." So it's like, it's just a no-win situation, especially in today's world of, I mean, it was just like, oh no, what else did I get thrown into now?
Anyway, so
I'll get it. I'm sure. I think I know who that was that's saying that. I'm sure I'll get a text here in a little bit telling me about it.
I know, but I'm gonna let them tell you. But anyway, that it is. I mean, it's very tough, but I don't see.
It's the same thing with the meet and greets. The meet and greets take time, but they do help. You can't do it. I've never been a firm believer of the meet and greets every single week. That's what the pit gate's for.
That's
but
the
one
biggest problem.
or two times a year, a meet and greet's not a bad idea.
Yeah, do it
Preferably
early in
not.
the year.
Preferably not when it's hotter than hell in 100-degree heat in the end of August. But
Shit. Yeah, do it early in the year, and then like towards the end, because you have other cars that come out, and by that point, if you have new fans that have gone out and they've selected Bobby Chaffee as my favorite driver, they didn't get to see you the first time, then they can kind of go out. Yeah. Meet and greet needs to be like we said, meet and greet. You can have a meet and greet every week. You just got to sit there long enough for the races to end, and you go meet and greet all you want. Nobody's ever going to throw you off the track, because you can stay there as long as they're going to stay there. And that's the other thing that's different, though. I think a lot of the drivers, they don't hang around like,
they don't hang around like we used to do years ago.
Yeah, they got to go. They got to go. They got shit to do.
That's the drawback to not having a racetrack close to a metropolitan area. Everybody wants to get out and go home.
Yeah, get on out of there and get on down the road.
When you're 2 hours away from the closest major metropolitan station, everybody wants to get on down the road.
Yeah, I mean, hell, we used to stay there as late as possible because we wanted the ambient temperature to be as cool as it could be on the way home, because our truck didn't have no AC. But I mean, the way that these guys go to the track now, shit, they're ready to go when it's all done.
Everybody's in the white enclosed trailer.
Yeah, it's like
whether you drive an entry affordable E-Mod or an entry affordable pure stock all the way up to a super late model. Actually, super late models in the big haulers, but you know what I mean. Everybody's in a damn enclosed trailer now. You never know who anybody is.
Like Ray talked about, all these stock classes, all these damn stock classes that aren't stock, but produces great racing. That's the bottom line. Before we get out of here, do want to kind of go back to the NASCAR thing. You know, that race last night, even though I kind of conked out a little bit, full disclosure, made some queso, had some beers, got sleepy, tummy got full, had to go to bed. I'm old. That kind of felt like the old, I think Dale Jr. said this, so it's got to be the truth. That kind of felt like the old Bristol kind of whatever, with brake calipers breaking and the brakes and people hitting the fence and all this.
A lot of them calipers. But what is it, that word, that phrase, unintended consequences? It's not something they thought about when they changed the rules to that low downforce package and high horsepower package. Cars can't slow themselves down. That's right.
Yeah.
Those rotors, you didn't think about not one time did you hear anybody discussing, we want more high horsepower and less downforce. Not once did they say, yeah, but that's probably going to screw a rotor.
Well, and the other thing, because I've seen some folks saying, well, it hadn't happened before, because they ran this package before. Yeah, but there aren't a lot of straightaways like Nashville Super Speedway. That's a lot. That is, you get that thing woed up pretty good. And this is where I go back to when people want to bitch about horsepower, to where it's like, okay, they need 18,000 horsepower, and like you and I have talked about, if you're at the track, whether they have 750, 550, 1,000, at the track, you can't really tell. And honestly, you can't either on TV if they don't have all this telemetry pulled up. If they're not sitting here doing all these things with pulling up stuff like this.
Before they had telemetry and onboard stats and shit like that, you didn't know that they were doing half speed at Daytona saving gas. They've always done that.
Yep.
They've always done that. That's not anything new. I mean, that's the way they save gas. Like, they do it at every track. Daytona, Talladega, Bristol, Coda. They do that at every track. And it's been that way forever.
Yeah. And
you're going to see it. You're going to see it come to play at Michigan this week, because it's just wide ass open all the time. You're going to see them do some fuel saving there. You're going to see them do it at Pocono because of the way that Pocono's shaped. And then, coming up here in a couple of weeks, we get that badass race in San Diego, I hope.
Yeah. I hope so. I mean, I just think, and again, the other part, we can't really have a program here without talking about the TV stuff. And, I see so many and a lot of people that don't even watch, that love the Prime coverage. And you said it last week. Why can they do what they can do on Prime and all that? You ain't got you have a hard end. I mean, you start at whatever, not hard on. You have a hard in. That means you start. But the hard out, they can kind of go.
You ain't got one.
Yeah. 60 Minutes ain't coming on.
It's
Law
supposed
and
to
Order
be an
ain't-
out. It's how many? I don't even know. I hadn't got a chance to see if they have just the post race by itself, to watch the post race by itself. But I mean, the one from Charlotte for the 600 was supposed to be an hour. It was an hour and 15 minutes. Nobody
just
batted
go.
an eye. They just went long.
They
cared.
just keep going. Yeah, that's part of the streaming thing where, and I saw, where folks were like, I saw where somebody did a little ranking thing to where it's like Amazon by far the best NASCAR coverage, followed by Fox and whatever, and it kept going back to the too many commercials and all that. But this is how hard it is, because even on Prime, they run commercials,
but they don't have
they
to
just don't
take
run as many.
Well, they don't run as many. B, they don't have to take local station breaks for commercials either.
Well, and the other part of it is they don't have to. When you go to Amazon.com and you jump on Amazon Prime and you start buying stuff, their advertisers are on there too. So it's I'm sorry to tell people, but it's like for the better coverage. Yes, I do think it's more exciting. I do think that it's more animated. But again, that's what you can do in this. I mean, if you and I were doing a show on Fox or NBC, I couldn't get over here and drop F-bombs and GD and all that. We'd be thrown right out, thrown off.
Hey, we're lucky we're not thrown out now.
We've been warned, but it's just a totally different dynamic. And as much as people want to complain about it, it's a better product. I think it's honestly, if they were on a streaming type with that production, I mean, the booth is livelier. I mean, it's just a better experience, I think.
I mean, if you want free NASCAR TV, go to the CW, watch all the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series races. But don't tell me about the damn good old days you could watch all the races for free, because they've never been free. There's always been a paywall. If you wanted to watch all 36, there's always been a paywall. The only one that never went behind a paywall was the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it. 600 used to be on WTBS. That was the cable. You had to have it. The ones on ESPN, you didn't get ESPN for free back in the day.
Yeah.
You got the Worldwide Sports 30-minute highlight of the race on ABC back in the early 80s. Okay, that was free, but that wasn't flag-to-flag coverage.
And it was 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And I mean, at some point, I
remember the dual race used to be broadcast on Saturday morning before the Pyramex, the Pyramex 300 or whatever, the Permatex or whatever.
And they ran them on Thursday. Yeah, they ran them on Thursday. And that's where I think that at some point, if I were NASCAR, I think that they could build a model. And again, this is going to piss people off because Amazon does what it does, and but maybe Amazon would be a catalyst in this. And I think with all of the Paramount and the CBS and all of this shit that's going on right now with media just kind of going haywire right now, maybe this is something where the CW and ESPN, maybe this factors in as well, to where NASCAR does their own thing for X amount of money. You can watch all the races for whatever, and you can get it on your smart TV, you can get it on your phone, you can get it on any device, because I honestly think that for sports, especially motorsports, that's a better option. I mean, look at what wrestling does, and I know a lot of people don't want to put racing and wrestling into the same whatever, but
well, as long as you're not talking about Bowman Gray, it's good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I think if NASCAR had their own app, whatever channel, this Tubi thing, I watch that Tubi thing a lot.
Think about what Formula One does. When's the last time you thought about seeing a Formula One race this year since they moved to Apple?
I know. Yeah,
I hadn't watched a single one. I don't have access to it. I don't have Apple TV. That's the one streaming service I don't have. But you know what? For those that don't want Apple TV, you could go directly through Formula One and get Formula One TV. It's the same Sky Sports broadcast.
Or I didn't know this until Memorial Day. So I plugged on the Apple, or I went to my Apple TV thing. I don't have it anymore. I don't have a prescription anymore to Apple TV. But it said, go to Netflix. I went to Netflix, which I do have a prescription for Netflix. and it was on Netflix. I had it on Netflix while I was sleeping. I mean, while I was watching. I watched it on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, and
So-
you get Flow Racing on Prime TV now too. So certain select races.
This is where it's so weird, because my dad cut the cord and he went to Roku. And I've told you this, he's having a hell of a time finding whatever.
Yeah.
And he finally got some channels in there. I was talking to him one day and he's like, pretty much every night I watch Flow Sports. I'm like, Flow Racing. I'm like, what? I said, you have Flow? I'm like, I actually don't have that anymore because I'm trying to be a little more budget conscious than I was before. He's like, oh yeah, it's on all the time.
Yeah, it's the Flow Racing channel there on Roku.
Yeah. So there's lots of options there. So, but
and it's going to get even crazier when the CBS Time Warner merger, the Warner Brothers CBS merger happens. What's going to happen there?
And this is really where I do think, and it's going to kind of suck because I love what the CW's done, and I know some of the inner workings there. When I was at TMS and I played in that golf tournament, I played with a couple of CW guys. They're from local, and they were talking about some of the different caveats and nuances of how all that works. And it's like, God, no wonder that works so well. I mean, it's like in Fort Worth, they have like a remember Trace Ali's show, the Texas Speed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They have that in Dallas. I mean, it's more concentrated on the O'Reilly series, but we were having those conversations, and I'm like, now with the ESPN influx and whatever's going to happen there, I hate.
Yeah, but that reschedule though, there was a lot of, when that rain delay hits, a lot of those CW stations weren't showing the race.
That's right. That's right. And that's the beauty of
your major markets aren't going to show the O'Reilly Auto Parts race. They're going to show NFL preseason games coming up in August and September.
They're going to show that. They're going to show 2.5 Men. They're going to show, I mean, whatever show. They're going to go off the coverage because they don't really, people don't understand what that's all about. But this is where I go back to, like with Prime, like that when I texted you yesterday about, boy, this passing shower sure is taking forever. That was good content that they had, whether it was kind of going back to some of the Kyle Busch stuff or talking to drivers or it's just very free to do whatever. And that's what I like about that streaming aspect. I'm a streaming fan. I mean, I'm never going to.
It's good coverage. The post race was great. Like I said, I want to see if this post race is by itself, because I mean, they had the clip I saw earlier was Denny Hamlin on the post race watching the Tyler Reddick race and went, oh damn, that's going to be real. He said, damn, that's going to be real expensive.
Well, Denny Hamlin could suck that beer down.
Yeah,
he chugged that beer down, didn't he? And the last stop for me is where I go back to as much as Denny Hamlin's not liked, and all the different things with him, whether it be the lawsuit or whether you just think he's I said earlier, Richard, whether you think he's one of those guys. Remember Kyle Busch was that guy too, but that ovation last night for him when he did the bow and all that, it's like, God, and that's where, like, we talk about it a lot with just kind of our country, and I think that NASCAR or the racing community needs to kind of walk hand in hand a little more and not kind of bash each other all the time like we do. I'd like to keep this continuity that we're having going. Yeah, you can not like Denny, but he don't have to be your favorite driver, and you don't have to like whoever, but that was a nice feeling last night.
Yeah, but that's because people feel sorry for him for not winning the title.
I think that was a big change also.
That's part of it. He didn't win the title. People still feel sorry for him by, missing out by 2 laps with a caution on the last 2 laps to go.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Good stuff and a great program on a Monday night. Good Monday night.
My boy SVG's first ever top 5.
Those NASCAR people are about to be in trouble.
Once he figures this Opel stuff out, he's going to really show how good he is.
What was the deal with him and Chase afterwards? Again, I slept through all this. I don't
know. I didn't get to watch the post race. Apparently, Chase thought he got roughed up with a couple of laps to go because they were battling. They were battling for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th all right there. Stenhouse came by for 4th. And then
that's a road course guy. Lay off him.
Yeah, Stenhouse came by for 4th, and I think him and Chase got together, even though it was Blaney that was the one that got Chase into the 45, but that's a whole nother story. So
yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you, again, another good run last night was this guy.
It still amazes me that we can send motherfuckers to the moon, but we can figure the fucking radius here.
That dude's solid.
He's getting there. Fire. The right people. All them Joe Gibbs racing notes. That's what it is.
Yep. He is very, very solid. Our man, Daniel Suarez.
Spire has more wins than Penske. Who had that on their bingo card at the Daytona 500?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If I'd have told you at the midpoint of the regular season that Spire Motorsports would have more wins than Team Penske, you'd have been like, nah, yeah, you're full of shit. No. Ryan Blaney's got 1. Spire's got 2.
Yep. Tough times for Penske and a lot of the Fords, as a matter of fact. Good stuff on the program tonight. Dylan Kowalik with a big win at Cotton Bowl Speedway, talking about that new race car that was just go back and catch that on Race On. I mean, it's just a really, really fast race car out there, pretty much dominating that race. Once they got going, that was the biggest struggle that I had. And I think that's why I like to go back and watch them after the fact, because it's like, my goodness. I mean, like y'all with the limited modifieds, I'm like, all right. Can we just get going?
Yeah,
that was kind of the factory thing. Yeah,
kind of grenaded half the field there coming out of turn 4 for the start.
Yeah, and we're over here bitching about meet and greets and all these victory lane photos. A lot of times it's just trying to get the race going, and that was the case in those 2 instances. Once again, there is our Sean Folsom photography photo of the week. And we will get those each and every week right here on the Revved Up Sports Show. Keep those good ideas coming. I mean, the awards thing or fan vote or whatever. I guess it would be a fan vote, I guess, because I don't eat at all the racetracks. I don't know what the cleanup vehicles are or whatever all those were. So yeah. maybe we'll throw that out. Might have to do some sort of poll, a Revved Up poll somehow.
I'm sure there's a way to do it. We just have to figure it out.
Got to be. Freckles. Sounds like a job for Freckles.
It does sound like a job for Freckles.
Do something like that. Yeah, absolutely. All right, dude. Rest of the week for you, man. I'm heading to Springfield, Missouri on Thursday, and I'm going to be gone all week next week. But I will have some evenings free, so we can probably get a showtime figured out at some point.
I don't have a whole lot. Got to try to catch up on a few things throughout the week that I did not get a chance to do on Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon, because I got a little late start coming back from the track and went to bed about 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. So
what?
Yeah, I left at I left a little after midnight. Got home, had to stop at Buc-ee's, and got back at like 2:15 in the morning.
What'd you do? Go through Corpus?
No, 2 hours. 2 hours, solid, just good, solid 2 hours.
Yeah,
and then was wired on Red Bull and Mountain Dew, so I didn't go to bed till almost 4:15 in the morning. So nice. that went over real well, and then that pushed everything back on Sunday afternoon by a couple of hours, and then tried to get some stuff done and couldn't get it done, and so I'm gonna try to catch up on that in the week. More than likely, we'll probably end up at Cotton Bowl Speedway on Saturday, if I can get everything to break loose like it's supposed to this week, and then spend some time with H and Marianne up at Cotton Bowl and have a good time.
There you go. It'll be a good one. Cotton Bowl Speedway this weekend. And then a very
be there too. Yeah. I think the sprints are coming.
Yep. Very, very busy June coming up, and then into July as we get into the dog days of summer and racing all across the state of Texas and across the Gulf Coast. And we will be showcasing some of that Gulf Coast racing as well for our friends over on Ultra Broadcasting. Thanks for a couple of nice notes there from some Ultra folks checking in, saying, hey, we like the Texas coverage. We like getting to hear about some of the different things going on there. We'll get you some pavement stuff once they fire off. They've got a Father's Day extravaganza coming up, so we'll get you
Houston fires off here in a couple of weeks. Or 2 weeks. I'm a week early. Today's first. Yeah.
Absolutely. We will definitely get you all that coverage again. Hey, go Spurs go. Looking forward to that. Plenty of college baseball, plenty of college softball, and of course, plenty of racing going on everywhere. Like we say, Bobby, if you can't get to a local racetrack, and there are a lot of good ones right here in the area and around the country. If you can't get to a local racetrack, find a streamer. Hopefully some of that streaming money is going to the racetrack, and it's going to help them, because that's super important. Because like Ray talked about, it was really cool there where he was talking about Dr. Gonzalez that kind of gave him a pass on some of the rent. I didn't know that
I
part.
didn't know that part either.
Yeah, I do know Dr. Gonzalez. That's the very good man. I mean, very good man, and not surprising, but that was really neat to hear.
Yeah, it's good to get. It's always good to get the behind the scenes stuff that you don't know, because it you know that's something that needs to get out to show how good that dude is to work with.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Prospective promoters. That's good to know right there. I mean, I would hope whoever it is. I mean, if they get somebody that's potential fit, put those people together and let them figure out if that relationship would be good, because that's super important. All right, my man. Have a great rest of the week. We'll reconvene here at some point next week. Like I said, I'm going to be going from Joliet. I've got Illinois. I'm going to end up in Tulsa. But all of this travel, so we'll get a show put together and go from there. You all have a great rest of the week. Really cool to see a lot of it. I hate the circumstances. The Jack Sandifer Memorial, the remembrance. Really cool to see a lot of old friends. That was neat.
Pay attention to your social media, because Cletus McFarland ended up on door bumper clear, and you know they ain't fans.
Yeah, I reckon.
I saw the soundbite. Well, it's not that we were ever against you. Bullshit.
Yeah, they can get him on there. They'll be licking his balls like everybody else is. That's kind of the way that works. But anyway, all right, my man. Have a great rest of the week. You all have a great rest of the week. We'll do it again next week from deep in the heart of Texas. Showtime, Bobby Chaffee, Rodney Rodriguez. This has been the Revved Up Sports Show. Friends, thank you so much for 10 years and growing. We'll see you next week.